Supernatural Season 14, Episode 9, The Spear. So this episode, of course, is the mid-season finale. We don't have a new episode of Supernatural until next year. I believe it's January, 20th or something like that. Definitely a good mid-season finale. We have, of course, by the very end of the episode, we do have Angel Dean. Michael kind of jumps from one body and, goes back to Dean. And that was definitely cool. It was a great way to end it. Garth makes an appearance, which I thought was nice. Hopefully they don't kill him, because I was like, oh crap, once it was revealed that Michael can, of course, control him. It was like, all right, well, where do they go from there? So hopefully he doesn't end up getting killed, because we rarely see Garth, and it just sucks in general when, the side characters get killed off. So I was like, I really hope they're able to, save him in some way, shape, or form. So fortunately, he does end up living, but everything falls apart in this episode, which I kind of liked. I kind of like when episodes play out that way, where it's like, all right, this failed, that failed, and then by the end, everything ends up failing. And it seemed like they were kind of on the up. And it was like, all right, so they go for the egg, the team splits. So we have Dean and Cass go after the spear. They actually end up getting the spear. But then we have Jack and Sam go after the egg, which ends up melting. So it was just like Michael knew what was going on because he was basically spying on them through Garth. So it was like, all right, well, we'll kidnap Jack. We'll take Jack because Michael wants to keep Jack, and it's like, hey, centuries and stuff from now, all these attachments and what is, all that sort of stuff just kind of fades away, and you'll be good, and we'll have, our world. And I thought it was kind of cool. I like the way things were playing out. I like the plan, which was officially revealed in this episode as to why Michael was giving boosts to all these different creatures. It was to kind of kickstart the war, but in a better way. It was basically like, I had the war going, we had some resistance here and there, and I was like, well, I want to have the war again, but more of a complete control type of thing, not much of a back and forth. I just kind of want to insert my my little secret army and just have them wipe out entire towns piece by piece. That way they're all under my control, and that's pretty much all there is to it. So I thought that was an interesting concept. It was like, we destroyed Kansas. I'm assuming, they don't really reference it. They kind of never reference it, but it's like, obviously, Sam and Dean being from Kansas. Every time that anything happens in Kansas in general, I'm like, oh, that's a big deal. But they never really play it up that way. But to me, it's like, that's where Sam and Dean are from. Even if it's not like the specific city, it was like Kansas City, Kansas. It was still kind of like, it's in Kansas. That's always kind of the big deal. But I thought that was cool. I was like, all right, so we officially get the reveal as to what the exact plan was for, kind of taking control. Like, we knew that's pretty much what it was, because it was like, well, I want to do what I did here. But we see, the exact plan, it's very methodical. It's like, all right, I have a chance to kind of learn from the mistakes that I made before. I'm able to make the same big plans, just execute them better, far less casualties and stuff like that. So I thought it was pretty cool. I was like, all right, I like this idea. It's sending in the werewolves, vampires, anything and everything that Michael's pretty much helped out and forced to kind of join them. And it's like, all right, we're going to go here, and then we're going to just add to our army. It's going to be super quick. There won't be this whole battle leading up to it. There won't be a lot of warning for everyone to kind of gather and be like, hey, all you random people, these things exist, so we have to fight back. It's kind of just like, yep, you'll find out they exist when you're being turned into one. So I thought that was pretty cool. I like that idea. It was, definitely dangerous. And then, of course, by the end, they have him he basically did the Thanos snap, and it was just boom, and that was the end of the episode. Based on the promo, though, I assume that was kind of misleading, the way they ended the episode, because in the promo, they're in the same room, but Dean is in a different outfit. So I don't know if it's going to be like Michael just took off, and then he came back, and that was all there was to it. And it was like, I just hated being in the jacket, so I wanted to be in the suit. But either way, they're going into it. They're going to end up, I guess, technically capturing Dean, or, Michael in this case. But I thought it was super cool. I love the way it ended. They have that reveal, and I would love it, in all honesty. I mentioned it before. I was like, up until this point, and it wasn't even a full episode, we've had less episodes of Angel Dean than we did Demon Dean. So I wouldn't be mad if, in all honesty, they did this until maybe the last 2 or 3 episodes. Honestly, even if it went to the very end, which I think that would just be a really cool change of pace. If Michael was controlling Dean all the way up until the very end of this season, I wouldn't hate that at all, because we still have the stuff going on with Lucifer, and we don't know what's going to happen there with the Lucifer Nick storyline. Jack, in general, his power possibly coming back to him, and how long that could take. It might actually happen in this season. It might not happen this season. It's kind of just it's up in the air. It's pretty much, he has no power until poof, one day it's going to come back. So, they could pull that out at any time. It could happen this season. They could save that for next season, but there's a lot to kind of have take place. So I would not hate it in any way, shape, or form if Dean was completely taken over by Michael until the very end of the season. Like that's when they finally figure out a way to basically save his life, because they don't have the egg. We find out that the spear is useless now as well. Like once it was broken in half, I kind of just thought it was like, oh well, it's still powerful, but it was one of those like it's only powerful in this exact form. Like if it breaks and you can't have like a short form spear and it still works. It was like, nope, all the magic's gone. It's completely useless. Like if a piece chips off, I guess, I don't know, it was just done for. So Michael breaks it in half and it's like, all right, well that's useless. The egg is gone. And I was like, oh well, there's nothing. So far nothing has been revealed. So I don't know. I mentioned it before, but with the whole Lucifer thing, it's like, all right, well they had two things going in this episode, both of which could have taken out Michael. They lost both as well. So who knows what's going to happen. They did have, like I said, in the promo, they do show, along with Michael having changed clothes, they do show that Michael is also in the handcuffs. So I don't know if they'll be able to take the spear, maybe, hit up Rowena like, hey, can you reform the spear and kind of, imbue it with magic once again so it's effective. So that seems like it's a possibility. But there's just a lot kind of up in the air because we don't really know what happens between the snap at the end of this episode and Michael ending up in those handcuffs in the promo. So who knows what's going to happen. Looking forward to it though. Very excited for when the season comes back. Like I said, I would prefer it if it lasted a super long time. If Dean officially wasn't Dean, I'd be fine with that because that's kind of what I wanted. We got it for 2 episodes and, Michael left. Well, I guess technically it's not air quotes. Like Michael definitely left, which admittedly in itself was kind of a big shock when they actually showed that Michael was somebody else. I was like, oh, he really wasn't there the whole time. And then it made me wonder, what's the whole deal with the crazy fuzzy vision stuff going on? And that was basically just like the door being left open. That's like that little tether where at random moments Dean will kind of have this heightened connection, I guess, to Michael. And then of course, it's like completely activated when Michael's like, yeah, no, you're not killing me. I'm just gonna hop back in. And I like the way it was handled too. It was kind of it was instantaneous. Like we just see Dean freeze in place and they show the vision from his perspective. He's kind of frozen in place as well. And then the woman just falls over. It's just like boom, she's down, and then Michael just went, just popped right back over like it was nothing. We don't see any sort of visual things happen. It was just like poof, he's out of this body, he's back in that one. And then, of course, to do the eye thing, but other than that, it was nothing. It was just instantaneous. There were no visual elements to it. And I thought that was really cool because that's something we hadn't seen before. So I like that idea. They kind of introduced a bit of a concept there with people being taken over, or, if someone is possessed and the demon, or, well, maybe demons can't do it, but, they'll talk about it later. But at least angels, for sure, if they decide to leave, they can, leave the door open. And it could be, they could easily explain it out like, yeah, only archangels could do it. And that's just an easy explanation. Like an archangel, that makes perfect sense. If any of them were still alive, the Knights of Hell, I believe that they'd be able to do it as demons. But other than that, I'd be like, okay, that makes total sense. Only the most powerful would be able to kind of leave, but still be like, hey, I kind of want to jump back into that body and then just do it instantly. So they could easily explain that out. And it's like, all right, well, that kind of keeps it from, screwing up, over a decade worth of content where it's like, well, how come these demons never just hop, back into bodies they left, stuff like that. So that would most likely be the ultimate explanation. Like, yeah, only archangels can do that, and, stuff like that. But definitely thought it was cool. Very excited for the next episode, going into the new year and coming back with the mid-season premiere. But really fun mid-season finale. Like I said, we got to see Garth. We got to see pretty much everything fall apart, which admittedly was the big surprise for me. I was like, wow, all of this stuff failed. It just went bad from beginning to end. And there were, little peaks here and there. Sam going in to get Jack, it actually succeeded. Then they leave. And then, of course, the stuff with Garth, but they beat him. And it's like, all right, well, things are kind of working out. Cass and Dean end up showing up. Everything's pretty good. It's like, let's go. Let's do this. And it just kind of all falls apart. And that was pretty much the ending. It fell apart and it just got worse and worse like as time went on. It started off with Cass getting beat up, which a lot of people have been complaining about that this season. He has kind of been getting beat up, and that's pretty much it. Crazy scene. I rewound it just to watch it. He flew in, if I remember right, he flew into the wall and then flew up. And I was like, well, that looks super cool. And it was just like, that just sucks. Pain wise, it sucks. But visually, I was like, well, that's some crazy power. Like he went into the wall and then went up and then like went around. It was really crazy, but I love watching it. I thought that was super cool to see. But all in all, I would say it was a great mid-season finale. Definitely looking forward to the mid-season premiere. Of course, we'd love to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, least favorite parts about it. And of course, going into the mid-season premiere, I would love to know your predictions for the back half of this season. How long is Michael going to be controlling Dean? Like, is that going to last until the last episode? Last, 3 episodes and Dean's back? And I think I mentioned it in my last review, or maybe the one before that, but I don't know how they would kind of play it if they somehow got the actor to come back, because I don't remember at all, for the life of me, what they did with that guy's body. Like, they probably didn't do anything, and he just kind of left the body, and I just can't remember. I'm like, well, if he left the body, then I guess the person would be there. Like, maybe one of the crazy cast moments where, if Michael died a bunch or whatever, but I don't think that was really the case, so they could have just buried that guy, or if they gave him like a hunter's funeral, something like that. Or maybe that actually it would make sense that they would burn the body just so Michael couldn't go back to that one. But technically that's one of those weird things where it's just like, yeah, once an angel or demon leaves, it's like, all right, well, you weren't important, but at some point, Michael has to leave, and so they would probably just get someone else, kind of like they did in this episode. It was just a different person he didn't like find the old body and go back to it. But we'll love to know your predictions on that. How long we're gonna have Angel Dean, how they're gonna defeat Michael, save Dean and defeat Michael at the same time. What is gonna happen with Nick/Lucifer? I can't wait for that. I'm just like, I don't know if that's gonna be Lucifer coming back to help, or like there's just a million things. It's just like I just don't know how that's gonna play out. So I'm looking forward to that as well. But like I said, definitely want to know what you guys thought about this mid-season finale, and we'd love to hear your predictions on everything that's going to happen in the second half of this season, and also want to know just what you guys hope to see for the second half. How long do you want Michael to be controlling Dean? Like I said, as long as it goes up to like maybe the last 3 episodes, I think that's a decent amount of time. Like I think that's a good chunk. That I think that would kind of count as half the season pretty much, or like very close to it. I'd be perfectly fine with that if it went to like the last 3 episodes. If they did it, like I said, to the very last one, that would be a nice twist, because I feel like they always switch it kind of back to normal, like right at the last episode, or maybe a couple episodes before everything kind of goes back to normal, so we have our main heroes fighting the main villains. But with one of them being controlled, I wouldn't mind. I would not mind at all if it went to the very last minute, which, they technically did that before. They did it with Sam when he was controlled by Lucifer, and heck, he was controlled literally until the ending. Like, that's how it ends, is him being controlled still. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to how it plays out. But like I said, I want to know what you guys want to see in the second half, what predictions you guys have, and of course what you guys thought about the mid-season finale and just the first half of this season in general. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.